Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Today we will start a new lesson. And like we always do, we will start with the core material. I just want to mention something because I have been receiving questions, students asking me, Doctor, where do we study from? Do we study year 9 or we study year 10 material? You study both. You study both, okay? You have, yes, Anas. Anas, you raised your...
It was by mistake, I'm sorry.
Okay, now for those who are sending me where do I study from again, you are going to take the whole syllabus. Some of you don't even know the code for your syllabus. Your syllabus is, or it has a code of 0610. Let me explain that. You have a code of 0610. This is your, it has two codes, by the way, 0610 or 0970. That's the same syllabus. You will sit for the core and the extended. Core is year 9, extended is year 10. Yes, you need to focus more on year 10, but still you can get questions on the core. That is why you have to study the core and the extended. The core alone is not enough, it is incomplete. And the extended alone is also not enough and it is incomplete. So I'm not going to answer this question again because I'm not going to tell you to study 9 and not study 10 or to study 10 and not study 9. Study both. Of course, students, so I'm going to write the code for you in case you're asking for the code 0610 or 0970, the same syllabus, okay? This is the bio syllabus for Cambridge. By the way, you are Cambridge, not Edexcel, you are Cambridge. Now, for those that took the core last year will find it very easy because they will have to focus only on the supplement material or year 10 material. Those that are new, those are the ones that need to exert double the effort because they have to study the core for the first time plus the extended for the first time. Okay, so I'm not going to answer this question again. Now, also, some of you are asking me very funny questions while they're studying. They are asking me, Doctor, do I study those boxes? Let me go to an example here. For example, reproduction. Okay. One student is studying, and this student told me, or she pictured the box here, and she told me, Doctor, do I study this box? This box. This box, you don't study this box. What is this box? This box is copy-pasted from your syllabus. This is the objective from your syllabus. Maybe I did not tell you this before, so I excuse you for this question. So if you go to the lesson reproduction in year 10 notes, it's supplement, so that's year 10. We'll find 16.1 asexual reproduction. What is this number? What is 16.1? 16.1 is the number of this lesson in the syllabus. This is the syllabus. I sent you the syllabus at the beginning of the year, but you did not pay attention to that. If you go to the syllabus for the lesson reproduction, you will find that lesson reproduction is lesson 16, and the first objective is 16.1. Do you see that? So you know where these numbers come from? Do you all see this 16.1? This 16.1 is the number of the objective in the syllabus. You have core 1 and 2 objective, supplement, which is year 10, 3, number 3 objective. If you go to the notes here, look, number 3, discuss the advantages and disadvantages of asexual reproduction. This is not for you to study. This is not studying material. You will study this, you will not study this. But what is this? This is the guide from the syllabus to tell you this reflects which number on the syllabus. Here, 3, discuss the advantages and disadvantages of asexual reproduction. A, to a population of a species in the wild. B, to crop population. Go back, you will see it right there. A, to a population of species in the wild. B, to crop population. 4, discuss the advantages and disadvantages of sexual. You'll find it here in the syllabus. 4. This is 4. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages of etc., etc. Okay, so you know where these boxes are coming from. These boxes that are found next to the study material This is the reflection of the study material in the syllabus. Maybe I did not tell you that, that's why you were confused, but it's okay. Any questions concerning this matter? Now, I am happy that some students are taking things very seriously, and some students still did not wake up. We will start, or we already started, human biology. Biology is much harder than what we took. So if you think that what we took was hard, what is coming next is harder. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just trying to tell you to take things seriously because biology needs a lot of work. Okay, I want to start. Enough. We will start reproduction. Today, we will finish human reproduction, the male and female system. And in class, we will do the supplement as we always do. Okay, now, 1 second. First, we'll start with the definition. What is reproduction? Reproduction is a very easy definition, which is the process that makes more of the same kind of organism, making more organisms of the same kind. Now, there are two types of reproduction. You have asexual reproduction and you have sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction, if you want to remember it, this is the reproduction that happens in simple organisms. For example, bacteria. For example, yeast. If you notice, these organisms are unicellular or multicellular? Bacteria, they are unicellular. These are simple organisms. These organisms, they reproduce with one parent. So there is only one bacteria, just like this bacteria, it is one parent, and this bacteria will simply divide. There is no male bacteria and there is no female bacteria. All the bacteria that is being reproduced, they are genetically identical. Look at this. This is a picture of bacteria reproducing. They are dividing. The process is very fast. The process is very simple. There is only one parent involved. Only one bacteria can give rise to all those bacteria. Now, I have a very important question for you. Do you think that these bacteria, they are different or they are all genetically identical?
All genetically identical.
Genetically identical. So don't forget or don't get confused. We are talking about asexual reproduction. A means one parent. There is no gender here. In these types of organisms, we don't have a male bacteria, we don't have a female bacteria. Bacteria, they reproduce in a very significant method known as binary fission. So what are we studying now? We're studying the different types of asexual reproduction. The first type is called binary fission. Binary fission, this is when the bacteria simply splits into half. Look at this picture. This is very obvious. This is a bacteria. This was one bacteria, one parent bacteria that was divided into half. Number one, this is asexual or sexual?
Asexual.
Asexual. Why did you say asexual? How many parents were involved?
One.
We started with one parent, and we will divide to 2 children, and each one will divide to give more and more and more, just like this here. All the bacteria that will be produced are genetically identical or they are different? Genetically identical. Very good. The mother bacteria was split in half. It's like you got a knife and you cut it in half. This example or this type of asexual reproduction is called binary fission. Why did they call it binary fission? Because with every time they replicate, they give you 2 bacteria. One bacteria will give you 2 genetically identical bacteria. That's why they called it binary fission. Now, there's another type of asexual reproduction that is called budding. I will show you a picture so that it's nice and obvious. This is something which should move. It's not moving. Maybe this is better. It should move. Okay. Now, this is also budding. Budding happens in plants. Like this is the potato, by the way. There is a small baby plant on the surface of the potato. This small baby plant will grow and grow and grow until it forms a separate potato plant that is genetically identical to the original plant. Did the potato split in half?
No.
No.
This type of asexual production is not called binary fission, but it is called budding. Budding, okay? I want to get you a moving picture. There was a moving picture somewhere here. So let me write budding so that you see it moving. Budding happens in a lot of organisms. One very common organism is called the hydra.
Yeast.
Yes, my dear. Yeast, you are correct. Thank you very much. This picture is supposed to be moving, but it's not moving in my PowerPoint. I don't know why. Okay, yes, this is a plant. This, I want my pen to move. This is a plant, as you can see. This plant will form a baby plant on its surface, a baby bud. And then this baby bud will grow until it completely detaches into a separate plant that is genetically identical to the original plant. This is asexual reproduction because I have only one parent and because the babies that are produced are genetically identical. But is this binary fission?
Yes, I cannot see your screen.
No.
If you're drawing anything, I can only see the PowerPoint.
Yes.
Okay, I'm very sorry. Thank you for telling me. Is this binary fission or budding?
Budding.
This is budding. Good. Okay. So let me copy this picture and put it in my PowerPoint. Where is it? Yeah. Yes, hopefully now it will move. Okay, so do you understand the difference between binary fission and budding? Binary fission here, the bacteria is splitting in two. But budding, this is when a small baby will appear on the surface of the parent, and then this baby will grow and it will detach to form a separate individual that is genetically identical. Like this hydra that you see here, or like this potato plant. Is it clear? Is budding or asexual reproduction, the two types,
Yes.
binary fission and budding, are clear? Good. Now there's another type of reproduction that we use to reproduce. You as a mammal, how do you reproduce? By asexual or sexual?
Sexual.
Sexual reproduction. Now, sexual reproduction, why is it called sexual? Because in sexual reproduction, we need how many parents? One parent or two parents?
Two parents.
Two parents. And these
A
parents
male and a
are
female.
of different genders. Very good. You have a male and you have a female. Excellent. Now, what happens in sexual reproduction? The male at a certain age, you have to reach a certain age. This age is called the age of adolescence or maturation. At a certain age, the male is
Or puberty, right?
excuse me?
Or puberty.
Yes, puberty. Very good. These three terms are correct. Puberty, maturation, or adolescence. The reproductive organs of the male will produce special cells that are called what? I think you know it from before. Who knows the cells?
Sperm.
Excuse me, sperms. Excellent. Sperms are produced by the male at puberty. These sperms, we studied them in the lesson Cells and Classification because they were an example of specialized cells. Now tell me, sperms, are they haploid or diploid?
Haploid.
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 Excellent. Now remind me because I forgot. What does haploid mean?
Contains 23 chromosomes.
Excellent. They contain 23 chromosomes, and this is the total number of chromosomes or half the number of chromosomes?
Half.
Excellent. Sperms are haploid cells, and they have other names also. They can be called gametes, okay, or they can be called sex cells because they are used in sexual reproduction. Haploid is a very important definition. Haploid, these are cells that contain half the total number of chromosomes. And in biology, there is a specific definition that is coming straight from the syllabus related to Cambridge. Haploid cells are cells. Where's the definition? Where did it go? Haploid cells, this is the male sperm here. Haploid cells are haploid. These are, male sperms are haploid. Haploid, they have a specific definition that you have to memorize. These are cells that contain one set of unpaired chromosomes. All the definitions that you said are correct. They contain half the number of chromosomes. Yes, they contain 23 chromosomes in humans. Yes, but this is the Cambridge definition. One set of unpaired. Why did we describe them as unpaired? Because who will they pair with?
Egg.
Very good. The sperm is produced by the male at puberty, and the egg, the egg is produced by the female also at puberty. This means a certain age. And the egg, is it also haploid or is it diploid?
Diploid.
No, my dear, the egg
Haploid.
produced from, of course, it's
It's
haploid.
haploid.
Haploid, which has the same definition. It contains half the number of chromosomes, or 23 in humans, or it contains one set of unpaired chromosomes. If I have one set of unpaired chromosomes in the sperm and one set of unpaired chromosomes in the egg, they will fuse to give me a what?
Diploid.
Excellent. To give me a zygote. This zygote is described as haploid or diploid?
Diploid.
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 Diploid in biology is defined as a single cell that contains the two sets of chromosomes. You will tell me it contains the total number of chromosomes, correct. It contains 46 in humans, correct. But they like this definition. It's a cell that contains two sets of chromosomes. Yes, Ziad.
Miss, the test is on Tuesday, right?
Yes, yes. Okay, let me go back to my lesson. The zygote, it is made up of two sets of chromosomes, and the zygote is the result of the fusion between the male sperm and the female egg. Now, this fusion, the process of the fusion of the nuclei of the male sperm and the female egg is called what? Who knows?
Fertilization.
Excellent.
Fertilization.
Fertilization. Okay, yes, some students, they know this from before, but even if you don't, we're taking it now. So don't tell me I did not take it before. I'm explaining it. Fertilization. So let's simplify. Let me use another picture. This is a very nice picture, actually, because it is showing you fertilization in action. This is the sperm. This is the sperm here. Let me change color so that it's nice and clear. This is my sperm. The sperm is produced by the male. And of course, it is only produced at puberty. And this sperm is a haploid cell. Those who are new and don't know what is haploid, haploid means it contains one set of unpaired what? Wake up with me. One set of unpaired chromosomes. In other words, half the number of chromosomes or DNA. And this big circle is the what? Is the egg, and we studied the egg in a previous lesson. When the sperm enters inside the egg, as you can see here, this is what is the name of this process? Fertilization. Very good. Now, how many sperms will enter the egg? Many sperms or only one sperm?
One sperm.
Only one sperm. Very good. Only one sperm is allowed to enter the egg. We studied that the egg is a specialized cell. It has a soft coating known as zona pellucida. I don't think you need to know the name. Okay. This soft coating, it is soft at the beginning to allow the entrance of the sperm. Once the first sperm arrives, what happens to this jelly coating?
Harden.
It will harden
It's
to prevent
hardened.
any entrance
hard.
of sperms. We took this before, so this is supposed to be old material. So when the egg fuses with the sperm, this is fertilization. Now, when they fuse together, now here is a real life picture, by the way. I don't think you will see this picture anywhere. It's a very nice picture showing you sperms trying to penetrate the egg. Only one sperm will penetrate the egg. And then it's very nice to show you the difference between the number of sperms. You have millions of sperms produced by the male every day once he reaches puberty. But in a female, it's different. She produces only one egg per month. And all these millions of sperms, they fight for the egg, but only one sperm will win. The strongest sperm. One sperm, we should know now the structure of the sperm. It has an acrosome with enzymes at the tip. It has mitochondria for energy. It has the tail for swimming. When it fertilizes, it will make a zygote. Okay, I don't want to jump. So this is sexual reproduction. We're still talking about sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction, as you can see, you have two parents. You have a male and you have a female. And the male and the female, they produce gametes. The female produces egg, which is haploid. It contains 23 chromosomes, and the male produces sperms, which is also haploid, containing 23 chromosomes. They will fuse in a process called fertilization, and please memorize the definitions just as they are. Fertilization is the fusion of the male and the female nuclei. nuclei, the fusion of the male and the female nuclei. And then when fertilization is successful, we will have a zygote. The zygote is diploid or haploid?
Diploid.
Diploid. And then this zygote will start growing and growing and growing and dividing by mitosis. We will discuss the two types of cell division to give you the fetus or the embryo. This is you when you were a baby. Okay? So I hope the two types of reproduction are nice and clear. Now you have a very important table that compares between the sexual and the asexual reproduction. Let's just go over it together to make sure that everything is clear. Now, yes, before I move on, which type of reproduction produces genetically identical offspring, babies that are identical to the parent, sexual or asexual? Hello? Where did you go? Which type of reproduction produces genetically identical children, asexual or sexual? Hello? I have 55. Okay, it's internet. Are you all with me now? Are you all with me now? Can you all hear me now?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
going back to the two types of reproduction. Which one produces genetically identical offspring, sexual or asexual?
Sexual.
Sexual. Which one is no, you're wrong. I said genetically identical. Sexual or asexual?
Asexual.
Asexual.
Which one is a fast process?
Asexual.
Asexual. Okay, this table is very important. Sexual, 2 parents are needed. Asexual, 1 parent is needed. Sexual, the offspring receive half the DNA from the parent. In sexual, the offspring produced are not genetically identical. As you can see, we are all humans and we all look different, even if we are siblings. And but we look like we possess characteristics from both our parents because we take chromosomes from our parents, but we are not identical to our parents. There is variation between the offspring. We are not genetically identical. Yes, Layla?
Miss, this personality, is it like something in the genes or is it like inherent, like you
Both.
get it from seeing your parents and stuff like that?
Both, but mainly it's environmental.
Okay.
Okay, this is the study of psychology, actually. Okay, gametes and fertilization are involved in sexual reproduction. Of course, we don't have any gametes in asexual. We don't have any fertilization in asexual. Sexual, it's very slow. Asexual is very fast. Sexual is mainly used by multicellular organisms like animals and plants. Asexual, yes, Rafa.
Doctor, what is gametes?
Gametes? Gametes are the sperms and the eggs.
Yes.
Gametes are the sex cells, the sperms and the eggs, the haploid cells, okay? The asexual, it's more common in unicellular organisms like bacteria, but plants, of course, they also grow by both sexual and asexual. We will study the reproduction in plants. Plants, they grow by both. Let's leave this for later. Okay, Rafa, you have another question?
No, thank you.
Okay, now we will talk about something important before I move on to the reproductive organs in the female and the reproductive organ in the males. In our body, we have 2 types of cell division. So I don't want any sort of confusion. There is something called sexual reproduction. There is something called asexual reproduction. There is something called mitosis. And there is something called meiosis. We don't want any confusion. We have to understand them together. Sexual and asexual reproduction, these are types of reproduction. In other words, this is how organisms make babies. Either we have 2 parents and we have egg and sperm in reproduction, or we don't have 2 parents, we only have 1 parent. We don't have male and female. We don't have sperm, we don't have egg. We have 1 bacteria splitting in half, or I have a fungi that has a small baby on its surface that buds off. This is asexual. So sexual and asexual are types of reproduction. Okay, now what is mitosis and meiosis? Mitosis and meiosis, these are types of cell division. In other words, now this is you. You are a nice grown-up adult, okay? And you are alive. This means that you are making new cells every day in different parts of your body. These new cells are made by mitosis and meiosis. So sexual and asexual, these are types of reproduction. How I make babies. Mitosis and meiosis, these are types of cell division. And to be more specific, they are type of nuclear division because they take place in the nucleus. So do you understand the general difference between both? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, now I'll be more specific. For example, this is you. Okay, I'm going to draw a girl. Why will I draw a girl? Because she has nice long hair. This is her hair now. After 3 months, her hair will grow longer. This means that her hair cells divided and they made more identical hair cells. Identical, and I will stress on the word identical hair cells. So her hair cells were dividing and dividing and dividing and dividing so that her hair is growing longer and longer and longer and longer. This type of cell division that generates genetically identical cells is known as what? Who knows?
Mitosis.
Mitosis. And the same idea, girls, although don't you have nails? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are your hands, okay? Of course, they are much prettier than that. You have nails. Your nails, if you don't cut your nails, they will grow what?
Longer.
Longer. How do they grow longer? We divide, or those nail cells, actually they are in the nail bed. They divide to produce identical cells, genetically identical cells. When your body cells divide to produce genetically identical cells, this process is called what? It's called what?
Mitosis.
Mitosis. So what is mitosis? Mitosis is defined in biology as a type of cell division. The cells are dividing to produce genetically identical cells. And when is it needed? It is needed in growth, mainly in growth. Any part of your body that is growing, like your hair, like your nails, okay? It grows by mitosis. When you have a wound, let's say you have a wound. This is your hand and you are playing basketball. You have all those fingers and you have a wound. You have an open wound. Does this wound stay open forever?
No.
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 After a couple of weeks, this wound will heal. How did it heal? Your skin cells,
Cell division.
excellent. Your skin cells divided to make more skin cells, more skin cells, more skin cells. Who was speaking now with me?
Me, Ahmed Mustafa.
Ahmed Mustafa. Now this is the hand of Ahmed Mustafa. Ahmed Mustafa. When you are hurt, God forbid, and you are healing, while you are healing, my dear, you will make more Ahmed Mustafa cells or you will make cells for another person?
No, for me, by cell
Exactly.
division.
So the cells that will be made by Ahmed Mustafa will be genetically identical, skin cells, so that I heal and I close the wound. This is mitosis. I keep on stressing on that because mitosis is a type of nuclear division. It's called nuclear division, not cell division, if you want perfect definition, that generates genetically identical cells. This takes place mainly during growth, while you're growing, while any part of your body is growing. During repair, any part of your body is wounded and it is healing, it will heal by mitosis. All the time you are doing mitosis, by the way, as long as you are alive and your cells are dying and making new cells, dying and making new cells. In case you did not know, your skin cells, they have a lifespan of only 3 days. Okay? 3 days and then the whole skin cell dies and a new skin cell is made by mitosis. This is mitosis. Now we have another type of cell division. What is it called? Who knows? I know that you know. Those that took it last year. What is it called?
Meiosis.
Excellent. Meiosis. Now, in order to prevent confusion, Meiosis happens in only one organ in your body, only one organ. It happens only in the reproductive organs. It does not happen in the skin. It does not happen in the hair. It does not happen anywhere. It only happens in the ovary in females, and it happens in the testicles in males. These are the reproductive organs. These reproductive organs, they do meiosis in order to produce the egg and the what in males?
Sperm cells.
Excellent, sperm cells. So meiosis is defined in biology as a type of cell division or nuclear division that generates cells that are not genetically identical. All the eggs that are produced in a female, they are different. And all the eggs that are produced in all the sperms that are produced in a male, they are different. Can you imagine? A male produces millions of sperms, millions, and every sperm is different. This is God's miracle. Every sperm is different. And the female produces one egg every month. And every egg she produces is different. If they were not different, we will all be identical. But because the sperms produced by the male is different and the eggs produced by the females are all genetically different, that's why we are all genetically different. Yes, Layla?
So they have different genetic information in each one?
Yes, you are correct. All the genetic information comes from the parents, yes, but there is difference in the genetic information, or else we will all be identical. Okay? Rafa, you have your hand raised?
No, doctor.
Okay, my dear. Now, thank God, you will only take the definitions of mitosis and meiosis. You will not take the steps. You will take the steps in A2, not even in AS. AS, you take mitosis. In A2, you take meiosis. Meiosis is one of the most complicated processes that happens in your ovary and your testis. Meiosis, in every cycle or every round of meiosis, 4 eggs or 4 sperms are produced, and every single egg produced is completely different, genetically different. No one asks me how this is done. Okay? If you want to know exactly the steps of meiosis, we can sit in another lesson and I will explain to you the steps, but it is not at all O-level. So what is the meiosis? Meiosis is an example or a type of nuclear division or cell division that produces eggs and sperms, only eggs and sperms. This is the function of meiosis, to generate gametes, to generate eggs and sperms that are genetically different. They are different from each other and they are different from the parents. That's why as brothers and sisters, we are all different. Now, in case someone asks you why, or a question, a silly or an annoying critical thinking question that asks you, suggest why sperms or egg are genetically different in meiosis, I'll give you the answer. Because in meiosis, there is something that happens called exchange of genetic material. Exchange of genetic material. This happens in meiosis. I'll try to explain a little bit more, even though you're not requested to know that. This is your father, okay? No offense. This is your mother. No offense also. I'm trying to draw a female, okay? Like she has hair. Okay. These are, where's the picture? Okay, here's the father and the mother here. The father here has chromosomes, and the mother, of course, she also has chromosomes. These chromosomes, they first come together, and then there is exchange of genetic material. Some genes are broken off from the mother and mixed with some genes of broken off from the father. There is a step called synapse and overlapping. You don't have to know that. There is exchange of genetic material. The genes are mixed up in order to create you. This is you. You are a mixture of your mother and your father. This only happens in meiosis. It never happens in mitosis.
Miss,
I made it nice and simple. Yes.
are all chromosomes equal in DNA,
Excuse me?
like in genetic material?
I did not hear your question, my dear.
I'm saying, Like when a baby is born, does
Yes.
it have to inherit equal genetics from the mother and the father?
No,
Or
not equal.
sometimes babies
Not equal.
have more genetic material from a
Yes.
specific parent.
Yes, yes. It depends on a lot of factors, but no, not equal. You take 23 chromosomes from the mother and 23 chromosomes from the father, but which genes express themselves, this is different. Some genes are more dominant, some genes are recessive. So you can look more like your mother because your mother's genes are more dominant, or you can look more like your father because your father's genes are more dominant. You inherited equal amounts of genes, 23 from the mother and 23 from the father. But which genes are dominant? This is different. How much are expressed from here or there? This is different from one individual to the other. Okay, there is someone who opened a noise. Please, I don't want to mute you. Can you please put down this noise? Thank you. Now, this is a nice table here also that compares mitosis and meiosis. Mitosis and meiosis is supplement material. It is only found in year 10 syllabus. So you will find this table in year 10 notes. Okay, let's read it together so that we make sure we understand it, and we will go over it again in the lesson inheritance. Now, before you ask me, why did we start with reproduction? Because the hardest lesson in this syllabus is inheritance. And I want to finish this lesson. But before we take inheritance, we have to take reproduction. So in case you want to know the sequence of events, we will finish reproduction, and then we will take inheritance, and then we will take immunity, because I want to finish the difficult lessons before term 1. Okay, now going back, mitosis. Cells produced in mitosis are genetically identical to each other and to the parent. Is this point clear to everyone? Any questions?
Yes.
Okay, good. In mitosis, I will start with a cell that has 46 chromosomes, and it will divide to give me 2 cells, each one also with 46 chromosomes, because we said that they are genetically identical. So in mitosis, I started with a diploid cell, and I will end with 2 diploid cells. Is this clear? How? You don't need
Yes.
steps. Good. So let's look at point 2. Mitosis, diploid cells are produced. Cells which are cells with 2 sets of chromosomes. Is this clear? Or anyone has any questions? I start with a diploid cell and I will end with 2 diploid cells. Any questions? Okay, mitosis, it is needed for, or where does it happen in your body? It is needed for growth. It is needed for repair. It is needed in asexual reproduction in microorganisms. But when it happens in asexual reproduction in microorganisms, it has another name. It's called binary fission. It takes place in body cells, all the body cells except the reproductive organs. Body cells in biology are called somatic cells. I'm explaining word by word because I know it is a little bit advanced. Any questions? Any questions up to now? If you have any questions, stop me. Mitosis, it involves 1 round of division. In other words, it's only 1 step, and it ends with 2 genetically identical cells. This is all what you need to know about mitosis, that it starts with a diploid cell, and then it ends with 2 genetically identical diploid cells. It is done in all the body except reproductive organs, for growth, for repair, for asexual reproduction in bacteria, but in that case, it is called binary fission. Anyone has any questions concerning mitosis? Okay, no one is asking, so I assume that you don't have questions. Now let's look at meiosis. Meiosis takes place in the reproductive organs. Meiosis is a very complicated procedure. You will not study any of its steps, but all what you need to know so that you understand what is meiosis is that in meiosis, we start with a diploid cell that is in humans 46, and we end up with 4 haploid cells. 1, 2, 3, 4. Everyone with 23 chromosomes, 23 chromosomes, 23 chromosomes, 23 chromosomes. How it happens, it's not your problem. And every haploid cell that is produced are genetically different. They are different from each other, and they are even different from the parent cell. And this is a 2-step procedure. It happens over 2 steps. Exactly what happens, if you want to know, you have a cell that is diploid. It will divide once, to give you 2 haploid cells, 23 and 23. And then each one divides again to give you 2 haploid cells. So we end up with 4 haploid cells, each one genetically different. Is this hard? Yes, it is. And in my opinion, this is not supposed to be for year 10, but I can't help it. You have to know it. What are we talking about? Meiosis. Please understand with me. If you have a question, ask. Meiosis is cell division in which 4
In the reproduction organs.
Very good. What happens exactly? We start with a diploid cell that will divide 2 times. In the first division, I will generate 2 haploid cells. And then it will divide again. This is the first division. The first round of division. And this first round of division is known as the reduction division. Why did they call it reduction division? Because we started with 46 chromosomes and that was reduced to 23 and 23. And then meiosis does not end here. There is a second round of division in which every haploid cell divides to give you 2 other haploid cells, 23 and 23. And this will divide to give you 2 other haploid cells with 23 chromosomes and 23 chromosomes. And the 4 of them are genetically different. Each one of them is different and they're not similar to each other, nor are they similar to the parent. This is what happens in meiosis. Now, why am I explaining those details? Because the definition of meiosis is that meiosis is defined as a reduction division. Look at this definition. Where am I? Meiosis is defined as reduction division. And you will see questions on the term reduction division in paper 2. When you see this question, remember me. Meiosis is a reduction division that involves 2 rounds of division. In other words, it involves 2 steps to produce 4 genetically non-identical haploid cells. I don't like you to memorize a definition without understanding it. You have to understand every single word so that memorization is easy. Now, this is the definition of meiosis. You'll find it in your notes. Do you understand what reduction means? What does reduction mean?
Yes. When the 46 chromosome cell
Yes.
divides into 2, which is the 23 and 23.
Okay, I hear only one person answering, but is it clear for everyone? Reduction means I started with 46 and that number was reduced to 23. 2 round division means 2 steps. Step 1 and then step 2. That produces or ends with 4 genetically non-identical, I think this is clear, haploid cells. I think you know what are haploid cells, cells with 23 chromosomes. Okay, if anyone has any questions, I assume that they will ask. So let's go to the table, back to our table, and look at meiosis. Now, this is a common question in paper 4, to compare. And when you are asked to compare between mitosis and meiosis, you can make a table just like this. So you can copy paste this table in your answer. But this means that you have to study it well. Meiosis. Cells produced are not genetically identical to each other. Haploid cells are produced. Cells with one set of unpaired chromosomes. It's needed for the production of gametes. It takes place only in the reproductive organs. Reproductive organs, they have another name. They're called gonads. And I saw the word gonads in some questions in paper 4, so you need to be familiar with it. Meiosis involves 2 rounds of division, 2 steps, meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. You don't have to know the names of meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. It's enough to know that it involves 2 rounds of division. It is also called reduction division, and it ends with 4 genetically different cells. Is this part of the table clear? Anyone has any questions? Hello? I have 53 students here. Is it clear from all the 53? Yes, it's not very easy. This is advanced material, but you have to know it. It's in your syllabus. Yes, my dear. If you have any questions, ask me. Yeah.
Can you explain mitosis again?
Mitosis is very easy. Okay. 1 minute. What is mitosis? Mitosis is when the cells in your body produces genetically identical cells. That's it. It's actually the easier type of cell division. This is mitosis. You have a cell with 46 chromosomes because all the cells in your body are diploid. The only cells that are haploid are your reproductive cells. This diploid cell will divide to give you 2 other cells that are genetically identical. So we started with a diploid cell and we ended with 2 genetically identical diploid cells, or a replica, a photocopy, as if they entered a photocopying machine. This is mitosis. And when do we need to make genetically identical cells? When your hair is growing, when your nails are growing, when you are growing taller, when you have a wound and it is healing. This is when we need mitosis, which is actually most of the time. Clear? Any questions? Okay.
What about males?
Excuse me?
What about males?
Nails, your nails grow by mitosis. Anything grows by mitosis. Mitosis happens all over the body except the ovary and the testis, except when we make eggs and sperms. Eggs and sperms are made by meiosis. Is this clear for everyone?
Miss,
Yes, my dear.
what about for bones? When your bone breaks?
It heals
And-
by mitosis also.
Okay.
We want identical bones to replace the bones that have been lost. Okay. Now, I think we talked about all that: sexual reproduction, fertilization, diploid, okay? And we did talk about the egg and the sperm, and we studied it before in another lesson. Before you ask me what is locomotion, locomotion means motion. Sperms, they swim, they move, but the eggs, they don't swim. Okay, this is fertilization. I showed you that. Now this is a very important, this is the female system. 1 minute, let me open a... Okay, I advise you to get a copybook because what's this? Because we will draw the female reproductive system. We will study the female and the male reproductive system, and then I'll let you go for today. Now we will study the female reproductive system. The female reproductive system, how will I study it? I'm going to draw it and label it, and I'll be finished with the female reproductive system. Now, how do I draw the female reproductive system? Those that know me from before know that I describe or call the female reproductive system the what? Who remembers from last year? It looks like a what? When we come to draw the female reproductive system, didn't I used to tell you that it looks like a clown? Look here with me. When I come to draw the female reproductive system, I'm going to draw 2 half circles. And then I'm going to extend the half circles like this to look like the ears of a clown. Okay? And I'm going to draw a circle here and a circle here. And then, doesn't it look like a clown to you? Wake up with me. Doesn't it look like a clown?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is not a clown. This is your female reproductive system. Now, females are born with this system inside their bodies, and it is inactive. Like the males also, they become active, or the ovaries become active, and they start producing egg once a month when they reach maturity. Now, tell me, what is the name of this organ? Who knows?
Ovary.
Very good, you have an ovary. And as you can see, the female has 2 ovaries, 1 ovary here on the right and 1 ovary on the left. What is the function of this ovary? This ovary has 2 functions. What do you think?
Produce eggs.
Is very good. Number 1, this ovary produces eggs. 1 egg is produced per month. And by the way, these ovaries, they work in an alternative manner. In other words, this ovary will produce 1 egg this month. Next month, it will be the turn of the other ovary. Okay? So these ovaries produce eggs. Number 2, what else do they produce? What do they think? What do you think?
Hormones.
Excellent. It produces female hormones. And you need to know the name of the female hormone that makes you look like a female, that is responsible for the secondary sexual characteristics. What is the female hormone? Yes, very good. I think you all heard about it, the estrogen. And the estrogen, it starts with an E, it starts with an O. Both spellings are correct. So the ovary. You have two ovaries. The ovaries produces two things, eggs and the estrogen, or the female hormone. It also produces progesterone, by the way. Now, this is a tube here that is known as what? Who remembers the name of this tube that is connected to the ovary?
Oviduct.
Very good. The newcomers, please pay attention. This tube is known as the oviduct, or it is called the fallopian tube. Now, what happens is that the ovary will produce an egg. It will release an egg every month. One egg is released. The release of the egg is called ovulation. Ovulation is the release of the egg. Let me get a nice picture. This egg will stay in the oviduct for 1 to 2 days. This egg is waiting for something. The egg is waiting for who?
The sperm.
Very good. The egg is waiting for Mr. Sperm. Mr. Sperm will arrive through the birth canal and enter the uterus of the female, and Mr. Sperm will swim and swim and swim and swim and swim to meet the egg. When the sperm meets the egg, what will happen? Fertilization. Egg plus sperm. What do they give you?
Zygote.
Very good. I will have a zygote here. So, where did fertilization happen?
In the oviduct.
The ovary.
Oviduct, excellent. So one function of the oviduct is that it is the place where fertilization takes place. It is the site of what?
Fertilization.
Very good, excellent. Now I want to show you something because I want to explain the second function of the oviduct. This is the female system. Of course, my picture is much nicer. This is the female system. I have here the ovary and the ovary. The ovary releases the egg. The release of the egg is a process called what?
Ovulation.
The egg is released. The egg will wait for Mr. Sperm. This is the side view here. This is a very nice picture. Look at this. This is the egg is released. The egg will wait for Mr. Sperm. Mr. Sperm will arrive. And then if fertilization is successful, I have the zygote, the making of the zygote. The zygote will continue motion down the fallopian tube until it reaches the uterus. The zygote, the moment it is made, it will start growing. Growing starts from the first day. The zygote will start dividing until it reaches the uterus. It is dividing by mitosis or meiosis. I will help you. It is dividing to make genetically identical cells. Mitosis. Meiosis took place in the ovary. Meiosis takes place here only because meiosis is done in the ovary to generate the egg. After that, meiosis does not take place anywhere else. So I don't want any confusion in that matter. Meiosis takes place only in the ovary, only in the testis in a male. After that, any type of cell division is mitosis. So I have a very nice picture here. This is the ovary again. The ovary will do meiosis. It will generate an egg. The egg is released. Can you see that? It is released in a process called what? Ovulation. The egg, this is my egg. The egg will wait. The egg, it has another name called ovum, but egg is nice. It's easier. It waits. It will wait for Mr. Who?
Sperm.
Mr. Sperm. Let's say Mr. Sperm will arrive. The sperm will fuse with the egg in the process of fertilization. Very good. And now we have a zygote. This zygote, see, it will start dividing from the first second. It will divide by mitosis to make identical cells. And then it will divide again to make a bigger ball of cells. Now these ball of cells at that stage B and C, they're called stem cells, or they're called blastocyst. Now, this is also a supplement. That's why you did not hear it before. Okay? So, A is the making of the zygote. The zygote will continue moving down the fallopian tube or the oviduct. As it is moving down the fallopian tube, it is dividing and dividing and dividing. It's growing. It's dividing to make identical cells, identical cells, identical cells. These cells are called the what? You need to know this name for year 10. It's called the what? Say it.
Stem cells.
Stem cells or
Stem cells.
blastocysts. We will study later that these cells are still unspecialized. They have no function. And then,
Miss,
yes, my dear.
what
Yeah.
happens when fertilization does not take place?
I will tell you. Just be patient, one by one, okay? The blastocyst will move down. It is growing, by the way. Every day there is growth. It will reach the uterus. By the time it reaches the uterus, now it is called an embryo. Okay? Because you have a clear objective that asks you to know the stages of fetal development. So we started with an egg. The egg is released in ovulation. The egg is fertilized. It will become a zygote. The zygote will divide by mitosis to give you a ball of identical cells called blastocyst. The blastocyst will keep on dividing more and more and more and more to give you an embryo. Okay, this is around 10 days or a week. And then the embryo will reach the uterus. Any questions? I still did not finish, but any question?
No.
Good. Now, why am I explaining all that? Because I want to explain the two functions of the fallopian tube. The first function of the fallopian tube, this is the place where fertilization takes place. So this is the site of fertilization. The second function, where is it? Yes, the second function is that the walls of the fallopian tube, as you can see in this picture, the walls of the fallopian tube contain cells. It is lined with cells that contain many cilia, microscopic hairs. What do you think this cilia is doing? What is it pushing?
The egg towards the uterus.
Very good. It is pushing the zygote or the egg. It will push the egg if it did not fertilize. It will push the zygote if fertilization took place. Now, this picture here is showing you the cilia that is found in the walls of the fallopian tube. And this cilia pushes the egg or the zygote towards the uterus. Clear? So these are the two functions of the fallopian tube. It is the site of fertilization, and it will push or carry the egg or the zygote. Okay, egg if no fertilization, zygote if fertilization took place, towards the uterus with the help of the cilia, the hair-like extensions found in its inner walls. The microscopic hair, you can call it microscopic hair. Clear? Now this is another picture here
Yes.
showing you what is happening. I have here the ovary. The ovary releases what?
Oh,
Eggs.
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 Very good. And the release of the egg is called what?
Ovulation.
Ovulation. The egg will enter the fallopian tube and wait for who?
The sperm.
The sperm. The sperm will enter the uterus. It will swim, 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 go to the egg. And then what happens at the fallopian tube?
Fertilization.
Fertilization and
I have a zygote. Let's use the other side. Now this zygote will start dividing. It will divide by
Mitosis.
mitosis to give you a
Which is
ball of
not-
cells. These ball of cells, what are they called? Stem cells
cells.
or blastocyst. My pen stopped with. And then the blastocyst will reach the uterus. Now, at the uterus, by the way, the body knows that all this is happening. This is my embryo now. This is my future baby. This embryo will reach the uterus. Will the uterus kick it out or it will give it a hug? What do you think? Will the uterus do to this embryo? This is my embryo here. It's in the uterus.
It will give it a hug.
It will give it a hug. Of course, it doesn't really give it a hug. The body knows that an embryo has been made. This embryo reached the uterus. The uterus is the organ where the baby grows. The embryo is going to be taken care of. I will take the embryo and it will sink. Can you see this part? It will dive into the walls of the uterus. The sinking of this embryo into the walls of the uterus is a process called implantation. Here, it's written here. Okay, now why will I give the embryo a hug? And why do I make it sink into the walls of the uterus? Because I will take good care of it. I will give it food, I'll give it oxygen so that it grows into a nice baby, and the baby will grow for 9 months to fill my uterus. Okay, and I will have this nice baby in my uterus. So this is a nice journey that you are studying for the very first time. Okay, this is what happens, or this is what happened to you actually when you were very, very little. What happened is that in your mother's ovary, meiosis took place. The meiosis in the ovary produced eggs. This is the egg. The egg was released in ovulation. These terms you have to know now. These are keywords. The egg will stay in the fallopian tube waiting for your father's sperm. The father's sperm will arrive. Where is the picture? It's going to move now. Should move. Where is the sperm? Okay, I don't know why did it stop moving, but the egg will wait for your father's sperm. Your father's sperm will arrive. The sperm will fuse with the mother's egg. It will give me a zygote. The zygote will start dividing by mitosis to give me a blastocyst. The blastocyst will divide again. All this while it is moving down the fallopian tube until it reaches the uterus. By the time it reaches the uterus, it is called the embryo. This embryo, I want to keep it because this is the future baby. The embryo will sink into the walls of the uterus, and this sinking is called what? Implantation. I hope it's clear. Now, please, I want you to pay attention to all the details in this lesson because it's one of the longest lessons and the most important lessons in the syllabus. Now, a nice student was asking me, what if the sperm does not arrive? Let's think together. You have meiosis happening in the ovary. This will happen whether you have a sperm or you don't have a sperm. Meiosis will happen in the ovary. The meiosis that happens in the ovary, what will it generate? What will it release? An egg. So you have an egg that is released once a month. This egg will wait. It will wait for who? It will wait for who?
The sperm.
It will wait for Mr. Sperm. This female, she's not married. So no sperm will appear. Will the egg wait forever?
No.
It will wait for only 2 to 3 days. The sperm did not arrive. Okay, it's not important. I don't need you. The sperm will continue its journey along the fallopian tube, but it will not divide because no fertilization happened, no zygote formed, no growth of zygote, nothing happened. So the egg will just move along its journey down the fallopian tube. The cilia and the walls of the fallopian tube will push it until it will go to the uterus. So in the uterus here, I have an egg which is a haploid cell. It contains only half the number of chromosomes. It's half a baby. Is this a baby? Is this egg my baby?
No.
No, it's half a baby.
No.
The body doesn't want it. The body does not need it. Will this egg be implanted in the walls of the uterus or the egg will be kicked out? Exactly. The body will throw the egg, the female's body here. This egg will be kicked out of the female's body together with all the blood in the walls of the uterus. This blood, the female's body was preparing this blood because this blood was the food for the zygote. But we don't have a zygote. So I don't need the egg and I don't need the food anymore. All the bloody walls of the uterus will go out in the form of period or menstruation. And in this blood, of course, the egg will be released. But of course, you don't see the egg. It's too small. So what happens? Hopefully, I answered your question. What happens when the sperm does not arrive? When the sperm does not arrive, no fertilization, no zygote. No implantation. All what we said doesn't happen. The egg will wait for a couple of days. Sperm will not come. The egg will not fertilize. No zygote is formed. The egg will continue its motion down its fallopian tube. It will go to the uterus. The uterus will throw it out. I will throw the egg together with all the food that I prepared for that egg, and this egg will come out as menstrual blood through the vagina. Clear? Okay, so if you study it in the form of a story, it will be very easy. Now, this is a picture that shows you the anatomy of the female. I think the ovary is clear now and the fallopian tube, and this is the uterus. For your information, the uterus is made up of very strong muscle. It's a muscular wall. And we know now that a muscle is the only tissue in the body that can do what?
Contract and relax.
Contract and relax. Very good. Layla, you have a question, my dear?
Yes.
Yes,
So
my dear. Tell me.
if this happens, like if fertilization happens and then the zygote is embedded into the uterus,
Yeah.
then why does the stomach get big, not this part?
You answered the question. You tell me. If now I have fertilization and I have a zygote, and the zygote now is embedded, this zygote will grow and grow and grow and grow, and it will be a what?
A baby.
A baby. That's why the stomach grows. This is how the stomach of the mother will look like.
Okay.
The stomach is
Because I
growing
don't understand, like it's not in the stomach, it happens in the uterus.
in the stomach, yes.
So-
But you asked me, why does the stomach grow? The stomach doesn't grow. It's the uterus that is growing, but your whole belly looks big.
Oh,
Okay,
Okay.
Habibti? It's got nothing to do with the stomach. This is the digestive system. Your stomach is empty. Your stomach has food. The uterus has the baby.
okay.
Okay, my dear?
Thank you.
Okay, you're very welcome. Now, going back to the anatomy, this is the uterus. The uterus is made up of strong muscular walls. Now, why do you think these muscles are important? Why is the uterus made up of muscle that can contract and relax? These muscles, they have a very important function. What is the function of the
To get
muscles?
the baby out.
Very good, excellent. To get the baby out after 9 months during labor. Those muscles, they contract very hard to push out the baby, okay? Now, at the base of the uterus, there is the neck of the uterus. It is called the cervix, the neck of the uterus. Now, what is the function of this neck? This neck, during the first 9 months of pregnancy, it is closed. It is tightly closed. And why do you think it is closed in the first 9 months of pregnancy?
So that
To hold the baby.
doesn't collapse.
Very good, to hold the baby in place, because I want the baby here. Only during labor will the cervix open. The cervix, it's called cervix. The cervix. It will open slowly. It will dilate until it is big enough to get out the baby, okay? This part of the female system is called the birth canal, and it has another common name, the vagina. So the anatomy is very important. Sometimes they will get you the anatomy side view. And you have this picture in your notes. You will see it in paper 4. It's very important. This is the what side view. I'm looking at the side. This is the what? The what?
Uterus.
The uterus. And this is the ovary here. See? And connected to it is the fallopian tube. The fallopian tube. And you have the uterus. And this is the vagina. Or the birth canal. Here, the vagina. Now, what is this? This is the bladder. The bladder, the urethra. The urine comes out from here, and this is the rectum and part continuous with the large intestine. Okay? You have here, I hope all those pictures are clear. This is implantation. See? The zygote is sinking into the walls of the uterus. This is implantation. This happens when fertilization is successful, so that we take care of the zygote and we give it food and oxygen and we nourish it until we have a nice full-grown baby. So the fate of the egg is released. The egg is released from the ovary in ovulation. The egg will enter the fallopian tube. It will wait. There are 2 possibilities that can occur. Either the sperm will come and fertilization is successful and the zygote will develop and it will start growing. I think you know the story, or no sperm will come and no fertilization. So the egg will be released from the body together with the bloody walls of the uterus in the menstruation. That's why when a female has her menstruation, she is 100% sure that she is not pregnant. And that is why when a female misses her menstrual cycle, she will be worried. What if I'm pregnant? Okay, so the first sign for her to know whether she is pregnant or not, if she has the menstrual cycle or not. There is period, she cannot be pregnant. Her period is late, there is a chance that she is pregnant. Clear? Okay, I had plans to finish the male system, but I think I'll keep it for tomorrow. I will explain the male reproductive system tomorrow. And this part. Let you go for today. Today, I think I explained mitosis and meiosis clearly. Anyone has any questions before I go?
Yes.
Yes, my dear. Yes, Habiba.
During implantation,
Yeah.
does the progesterone hormone, does it have any role in it?
No. The progesterone hormone is produced from the placenta in the late stages of pregnancy. Who told you anything
Okay.
about progesterone now? We still did not mention the progesterone.
No, I know. It's just in the national system last year, I took both hormones, so just
Yes,
asking to remember
the estrogen is responsible for the secondary sexual characteristics, and it does have a function during pregnancy. It keeps the uterine or the endometrium or the walls of the uterus thick. And then after the development of the placenta, after the third trimester, this is only when the progesterone is produced. So the progesterone is produced in the late stages of pregnancy, not at the beginning.
Okay.
So at the beginning, there is no progesterone yet because no placenta is developed. If you had taken the core last year, it is not in the core. This is in the supplement. Any other questions? Habiba, you have a question?
Yes. Why does it hurt so much when the baby comes out if all the muscles dilate?
Because the muscular contractions are very hard and the opening of the cervix is very painful. It's one of the worst pains that you can have. The walls of the uterus, all through the female's life, they're not contracting. They contract during the menstrual period. That's why it also hurts during menstruation. And they contract really hard to push out the baby. So it's painful. Muscle contractions are painful. And the cervix is closed all her life. This cervix is closed all her life. It opens slowly and slowly. It takes hours for the cervix to dilate. And this is very painful.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Let me see.
Doctor,
Yes, my dear.
it's not a question, but can you send us this PowerPoint? It's really nice.
Okay, hot. For your sake, I'll send. Just remind me.
Miss?
Yes, my dear.
What's the definition of implantation?
Implantation is the sinking of the zygote in the bloody walls of the uterus or in the endometrium. I'll teach you a word called endometrium. Endometrium, which is equivalent to the walls of the uterus. Sinking, you have the definition. Sinking of the zygote into the endometrium or the bloody walls of the uterus. Any other questions? If you have any,
Zygote, the zygote or the embryo?
both can be considered correct, but the embryo is more specific. It's more accurate because by the time the zygote reaches the uterus, it's an embryo. Nice question. This shows me that you're paying attention. Okay, my dear? So it is the sinking of the embryo. Of course, it's an embryo by now.
Thank you.
Welcome. Okay, if you have any questions, send me. And that's it. See you tomorrow.